When we think of the Roman gods, our minds usually jump to the big names, right? Jupiter with his thunderbolts, Mars going off to war. But there's another one, a quieter god, who might just be the most fundamental of them all. He's the gatekeeper, the one who watches every beginning and every end. This is the story of Janus, the god who looks both ways.
So let's get right to it. Why the two faces? I mean, that's the first thing everyone wonders. And no, it's not some sign of being sneaky or deceitful. It's actually the source of a profound power, one that made him one of the most essential gods in all of Rome. And to get why, you have to understand just how important he was.
And get this is the key right here. In every single religious ceremony, the Romans called on Janus first. Yeah, even before Jupiter, the king of all gods. Think about that for a second. You literally had to go through Janus to get to anybody else. He was the doorman of the divine. So how on earth did he earn that top spot? Well, the story doesn't start with a god. It starts with a man.
That's right. Before he was a god, Janus was a mortal king. We have to go way, way back to the misty beginnings of Italy, long before Rome was even a thought, when the Tiber River just ran wild through the hills. He was this incredibly wise king, ruling from a place called the Janiculum Hill. And he wasn't just some ruler sitting on a throne. The people saw him as something more, almost like the original architect of their entire civilization. What he did was he basically guided humanity out of chaos. He taught people how to farm, how to actually have a stable food supply. He established laws so they could live together without tearing each other apart. He even built bridges to literally connect them. He was all about new beginnings, about progress. And it was this generous spirit that would completely change his destiny.
Okay, so here's the pivot point in the story. One single act of kindness is about to take this mortal king and turn him into something so much more powerful. This is the moment everything changes.
So picture this. A weary, defeated god shows up at his gates. It's Saturn, and he's just been banished from the heavens by his own son, Jupiter. Now, a lot of kings would have been terrified, but not Janus. He welcomed this divine exile with open arms, shared his throne, shared his whole kingdom. So as a thank you, Saturn gives Janus a gift. But it wasn't gold or land or power. It was something far stranger and far more useful: sight. The divine ability to see the past and the future, both at the very same time. And that, right there, is the origin of his two faces. One looks back to learn from everything that has happened, and the other looks forward to see what's coming. You see the shift? His mortal wisdom was all about building a better present, but his new divine sight was about mastering time itself. He was no longer just a king of men. He had become a guardian of the threshold between what was and what will be. And with this incredible new power, Janus's role was set in stone. He wasn't just another name in the pantheon. He was now the absolute master of the most fundamental thing there is: transition. He became known as the Inorder, the doorkeeper. But this wasn't just about physical doors. We're talking about the transition from war to peace, from day to night, from being a child to becoming an adult. Any journey, big or small, literal or metaphorical, was his domain. Here's a really cool detail. You know how so many Roman gods are basically just Greek gods with a new name? Jupiter is Zeus, Mars is Ares, and so on? Well, not Janus. He was 100% Roman. He didn't have a Greek equivalent, which made him a truly essential part of their own unique identity. His power even took physical form, right in the heart of Rome itself. It was called the Janus Geminus. Now, it wasn't really a temple in the way we usually think of them. It was more like a freestanding gateway with two doors. And the state of those doors told you everything you needed to know about the Roman Empire at any given moment. It was pretty simple. If the gates of the Janus Geminus were open, Rome was at war. The symbolism was that Janus himself had left his shrine to go out and help the Roman soldiers on the battlefield, to guide them through the chaos. But if the gates were closed, that was the ultimate sign that peace had broken out across the entire empire. It meant Janus was home, back in his shrine. His work on the battlefield was done, and the threshold was secure. Now here's the truly mind-blowing parts. In hundreds and hundreds of years of Roman history, those gates were almost always open. This tells you so much about the Roman worldview. For them, life was conflict. It was constant transition.
Peace was this incredibly rare, precious exception, not the rule.
But Janus wasn't just about war. His influence touched every single part of Roman life, creating a legacy that, believe it or not, we can still feel today.
He was the god of all of life's critical turning points. A marriage? That's a transition. The harvest? A transition from sowing to reaping. The birth of a child? The beginning of a whole new life. Janus was there for every single one of them, the divine guardian of all those in-between moments. And of course, his most obvious legacy is sitting right there on our calendars. The month of January, in Januarius in Latin, is named after him. It's the ultimate threshold, isn't it? It's the doorway where the old year ends and the new year begins. And Janus is standing right there in the middle, looking back at what's been and forward to what's to come. In the end, Janus is so much more than an ancient god. He represents this timeless idea that life is just a series of passages, of moving through doorways, not arriving at final destinations. He's the ultimate proof that you can't have a beginning without an ending, and that every future is built on the lessons of the past. He's a reminder that at every big moment, we're all just standing on a threshold, with one foot in the past, one in the future, trying to decide which way to step next.